Hi, welcome back to Purpose Driven Church Unificationists. We are continuing the chapter on developing mature members, and we are dispelling currently myths about spiritual maturity. Myth number 3 is that spiritual maturity can occur instantly if you find the right key, quote unquote. Many sincere Christians spend their entire lives earnestly searching for an experience, Rick Warren says. A conference, a revival, a book, a tape, or a single truth that will instantly transform them into a mature believer. The truth is this: spiritual growth is a process that takes time. There is no shortcuts to maturity. It's a slow process. He does say, though, that he believes through the efforts that they made to try to help people to grow spiritually, is that people can grow much faster when you provide a track for them to grow on. The process. They call this the life development process at Saddleback. This is the baseball diamond analogy that they use for the growth process because people generally universally understand the concept of a baseball diamond. You got first, second, third base, home, which is like a point, a score. And he says that we explain to all our members that our goal is to help them move around all the bases. Likewise, in baseball, if you don't make it to home base, you don't actually score any points. You don't get any points for making it to third base or to making it to second base. So, like he uses that as also to say that all believers' goal is to make it to home base, to reach maturity. Um, he says if you convince people of the importance of scoring and give them a coach at each base, it's much easier to get people to home plate. Likewise, if you lead people to commit to growing spiritually, teach them some basic habits, and give them guidance as they progress around the bases, you can expect to see them grow. And I think that this is a really key point that he's making that we've really missed in our movement. I feel like many members are looking for either for themselves or for their kids this kind of miraculous transformation or experience of some kind is going to make a life-changing difference. And it's not that you can't have a life-changing event happen at one of these things, but his point is that that doesn't create spiritual maturity. That can be one step on the process, but then you still have to continue to nurture and help them grow and provide a process through which they can develop themselves into a mature spiritual person. Um, so I thought that was really important and something for us to remember as we look into raising our children and bringing new people into our movement as well. Spiritual myth number 4 is that spiritual maturity is measured by what you know. Many churches evaluate spiritual maturity solely on the basis of how well you can identify Bible characters, interpret Bible passages, quote Bible verses, and explain biblical theology. The ability to debate doctrine is considered by some as the ultimate proof of spirituality. The truth is this: spiritual maturity is demonstrated more by behavior than by beliefs. The Christian life isn't just a matter of creeds and convictions, it includes conduct and character. Beliefs must be backed up by behavior. Our deeds must be consistent with our creeds. The New Testament repeatedly teaches that our actions and attitudes reveal our maturity more than our affirmations. He goes on to state a few different Bible verses. Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by what I do. Who among you is wise and understanding? Let him show by his behavior. Then he goes on to say, if your faith hasn't changed your lifestyle, your faith isn't worth much. He also goes on to say that in addition, we can measure maturity through perspective, conviction, skills, and character. One real danger of having knowledge without the other 4 components is that it produces pride. Corinthians says, knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. Some of the most carnal Christians I've known were a veritable storehouse of biblical knowledge. They could explain any passage and defend any doctrine, yet were unloving, self-righteous, and judgmental. It is impossible to have spiritual maturity and pride at the same time. Another danger of having knowledge is that it increases responsibility. The deeper knowledge of the word comes a stronger judgment if we fail to apply it. That is why we must have the conviction and character to practice what we know. So honestly, like, I'm just gonna stop there. There's more myths. We'll cover those tomorrow. But I'm just constantly inspired by how principled I feel like Rick Warren's concepts and teachings are. This kind of even this concept of the more you know, the more you're responsible for. Yes, it's in the Bible, but I mean, how many people actually teach that? And that spiritual maturity is demonstrated more by behavior than by beliefs. I mean, Yeah, I think that generally everybody believes that, or most people believe that, but how many people we, and even ourselves, like, how often do we elevate somebody's uh, as a godly person or a spiritually mature person because they know so much, because they have a seminary degree, or because they've done this or they've done that, and not even necessarily looking at the content of their character and the results of their life, and the actual conduct and behavior that the person exhibits in their day-to-day life, in their relationships with people, how much they care about and love people. So anyway, um, it's just a spiritual myth to be dispelled. But I think that there's a lot of application there for us, and look forward to going into the next few bits tomorrow. Thanks a lot.